Hello, everybody. This is Latasha Kennard with Start Young Financial Group, and today I just want to say thank you so much for joining the replay of the 20 something Enrich webinar. Um, I also would like to say thank you to all of those who joined us live on Saturday, and I apologize wholeheartedly for the technical difficulties that we experienced, and I appreciate you guys for being such good troopers and for trying to help through it. I've never been on a webinar that didn't have technical difficulties, but this was different in that it didn't allow you to stay for the duration of the webinar. So I apologize for that, but on the flip side, it has allowed me to go back and revamp my content and make it even better for you guys. So one thing that doing a webinar does is it allows you to see the things that you actually like sharing with others and the things that aren't as useful. So you may have noticed that originally the webinar was 5 foolproof strategies to get rich and build wealth. However, I have reduced it to 4 foolproof strategies to get rich and build wealth in your 20s and beyond. And instead, I'm adding more meat into each of those 4 strategies to make sure that you really understand the how-tos. Again, my name is Latasha Kennard, CEO and Chief Coach at Start Young Financial Group, and I'm excited to give you guys the how-tos behind how to build wealth in your 20s. A little bit about me. I was born and raised in Chicago. I'm an avid Chicago Bulls fan. I graduated high school and went to Washington University in St. Louis, where I majored in psychology and education. I started investing at WashU as a sophomore. I was the only sophomore that I knew who was invested in the stock market, and it paid dividends and has really proven to be a good income stream for me. After graduating from Washington University, I went to work for a Fortune 50 company, Target Corporation, and there I managed $100 million budgets with some of the largest vendors, and it really helped prepare me to manage large budgets. So that's a little bit about me in a nutshell. I have had the experience to do or the opportunity to do so many wonderful things and to present before so many great organizations, companies, and institutions. And you can see them on the screen. I don't want to go too in depth. I just want to say that presenting personal finance information to young adults is what I'm passionate about, and I'm always grateful when people give me the opportunity to do that, and it shows how important they understand it is. And we know that to be true as we see the craziness that is happening in our government right now. These are uncertain economic times, and so it is always my goal to bring a message of financial freedom, prosperity, and information to young adults. So I'm going to just jump right in. For those of you who are on the live webinar, you know that things can get long. So I am going to try to make this as succinct as possible, although brevity is not my strong suit. I'm going to try really hard for you guys. I want to start by playing the game of life. And a lot of you may have played this as a youngster, but this has a little bit of a different spin on it. This is from a personal finance perspective. So it is my belief that every new level and stage of your life comes with a price tag. And the purpose of this game is to see how well you understand the expenses that come along with those new stages of your life. So I'm going to ask you how much you think the average is for a particular thing, and I would like you to respond, and then I'll give you the answer. So for the average young adult, let's say a 25-year-old, what do you think the average debt is? And this is student loan debt and consumer debt. So just give it your best guess, and this is not how much debt you are in, but how much debt do you think the average 25-year-old is in? $32,500. So I think that this is particularly important because what this is saying is that as you start your life as a young adult, you are beginning $32,500 in debt. And you will spend the rest of your life either working hard to come out of that debt or going deeper and deeper into debt. How much do you think it costs on average to get your first apartment? So this is the cost of the down payment, the security deposit to move in, furnish it, all of that great stuff. So remember, all the things that your parents might have, you have to start from scratch. How much do you think that costs? On the low end, that costs $5,000. So we could estimate $1,000 down, for your security deposit, $1,000 for your first month's rent, and then $3,000 to furnish it. You're going to need a bedroom set, a living room set, a dining room set, a TV, dishes, all of those things that you're going to need to live your day-to-day life. Okay, how much do you think the average person spends on their first adult car? $8,000. So not only did you start off $32,500 in debt, but you've already had to furnish an apartment and purchase a car. So let's see what's next. Okay, now we're getting into the fun adult stuff. So how much do you think the average young man is spending on an engagement ring? The answer is $5,400. And after the engagement, the wedding expenses just start piling up. What do you think the average young adult couple is spending on a wedding today? The answer shocked me. The average couple is spending $26,000 on a wedding, even though the average person is starting off $32,500 in debt. So what most people are spending on a wedding could be used as a down payment on a home. But with that being said, how much do you think the average person is spending on their first home? And during the live session, it was really interesting to see what some of the responses were. That's always fun to see what people think. But the answer is $150,000. Now, I know that it probably isn't politically correct to look at a child as an expense. And as much as we love them, we have to recognize that they do come with a price tag. So how much do you think it costs to raise a child and care for a child per year? $13,000. And this might include any activities that your child might participate in, but it does not include the cost of education, private school education, or college education. Speaking of your child's education, how much do you think it will cost for your child to go to college? Now, you may or may not choose to pay for it, or maybe you help your child and pay partially, but how much do you think tuition will be by the time your child goes to college? Now, $47,000 is an estimate for public school. This is not even for private school. This is an estimate for about how much it's going to cost for us to send our children to college. And then lastly, how much do you think you're going to need to retire on? So you can think about, how old do you want to be when you retire? How many years do you think you're going to need that money to come up with an estimate of how much you'll need? And the estimate on the low end is $1 million. But you have to recognize that because of inflation, $1 million today is not going to be worth, or what I should say is that $1 million by the time we retire is not going to be worth what $1 million today is. So keep that in mind also. So to do a quick recap, as you can see, there are so many different expenses that come along with our different levels in life. And this was really impressed upon me yesterday as I talked to two of my clients. I talked to one who doesn't even have a boyfriend or isn't even in a serious relationship right now, but we started talking about her future. We started talking about how much she would be willing to pay on a wedding and her honeymoon. And we started getting a savings plan together for that. And we expect that a wedding is at least 5 years out at this point. And while I was talking to her, she was telling me that, this is far out. Why are we planning for this right now? But that very same day, I talked to a client whose wedding is potentially 2 years out. And to start off in debt, and to plan for a wedding that is going to be over $20,000 in 2 years is quite stressful and almost impossible to do without going into additional debt. So my goal for my clients is to not have to go into debt because they have planned so well for their financial future. That they are so good, so taken care of, that they don't have a care in the world. To me, that's what financial freedom is, and that's what I try to provide for my clients. And that's exactly why I wanted you to see this recap. And the takeaway that I would like for you to get is that although there are so many things that we cannot plan in our life, there are others that are predictable. There are aspects of our life that are predictable. You know that you're going to want a car. You know that you're going to want a house. You know that you're going to want to get married and start a family. So if you know these things, it would be in your best interest, it would be in our best interest to plan for them. And if you don't take away anything else from this webinar, I hope that you understand how important it is to plan for the future and how that can be a game changer in your life. So soon, I'm going to jump right into the different strategies of building wealth. But before we do, I want to tell you how we're going to roll in this webinar. What is our philosophy? And Yoda brings to us, or at least I think that's Yoda, some sage words of wisdom. And he says, do or do not. There is no try. And I think that that's particularly important because there are going to be places during this webinar where you might think, I can't do this. This doesn't make sense. I don't know how. I don't have money. You're going to try to come up with excuses or reasons in your mind for why this could not work. And I want to let you know that there is no room for that. This webinar is for people who are ready to take control of their finances and transform their future. It is my hope, however lofty it may be, that simply by executing the strategies within this webinar, you would be able to change your financial future. If you don't think that you are ready for action, then this webinar is not for you. Because everything that I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a step-by-step on how you can do it. So I won't tell you to do anything and not tell you how. So there is no excuse, no reason for why you can't move forward. And this webinar is specifically for people who are excited about the future and who are ready to take control of their finances to make it happen. As I mentioned, we're living in uncertain economic times. We can't depend on a 9-to-5. We can't depend on the government. We have to depend on ourselves, especially this young adult generation, because nothing is promised to us. We might find ourselves in a situation where we don't even get Social Security benefits, or if we do, they could significantly be reduced. The Social Security benefit increase this year was the lowest that it has ever been. That does not bode well for us. So, that may have come off as a little passionate, but it's only because I am passionate. I believe so strongly in your ability to provide a better future for yourself and the people around you, your family, for the generations to come after you. Is that serious for me, and I want you to take it serious as well. And if you take it as seriously as I do, then let's move forward. For those of you who are not planning to stay on for the entire webinar, I want to let you know that at the very end, I'm going to be offering I'm going to let you know rather about my virtual training program, which is also called 20 Something and Rich. It is a step-by-step 30-day guide to get rich in 5 years. So as you may have been able to tell from the 5 years part, this is not a get rich quick scheme, but it is an accelerate your path to wealth program. And in this program, I am not, for the most part, I am not reinventing the wheel, but I am bringing all of the information that you need together in one format and presenting it to you. So I'm not reinventing the wheel, I'm just bringing all of the important wheels to you in an easy to digest format. In this program, we're going to execute a newly redesigned budgeting model. And I know how millennials are. I know how young adults are. We don't want to do anything that's going to be overly intrusive in our lives. So this budgeting model requires that you work the program for 30 days, but after that, you only have to interact with your budget once every 4 months. In fact, you only have to think about your finances at all once every 4 months. So we go hard during this 30 days, and then you'll be set for the rest of the 5 years or however long you decide to build wealth. And all you'll have to do is check in once every 4 months. We're going to learn a simple and proven strategy or strategies in real estate and the stock market. 80% of millionaires become millionaires through real estate. So if you don't know anything about real estate, then you definitely need to be a part of this program. We're going to create a comprehensive 5-year financial plan and develop your financial freedom playbook. So this 5-year plan is going to be the information that we need to create your step-by-step playbook. And this financial freedom playbook is going to include everything. It's going to have your budgeting plan in it. It's going to have your personal financial statement. It's going to have your insurance that you have now and the insurance that you'll need over time. It's going to include your goals and priorities, and it's going to include a step-by-step playbook for how you're going to achieve it. And that is not even getting into the meat of what's in the Financial Freedom Playbook. In addition, you're going to gain lifetime access to all of our financial planning tools. So stay tuned so you can learn more about it at the end. But right now, I want to jump into the program or into the strategies. Now, I want to let you know that for each strategy, we are going to talk about short-term things that you can do right now, because I want to give you right now action steps that you could put into place to start building your wealth. But then we're also going to be talking about the long-term strategies that you could begin to implement that could really accelerate your path to financial freedom. And those are going to be snippets of what we'll talk about in more detail in the virtual training program. So strategy number 1 is increase your income. And you might be thinking that, well, Tasha, if it was so easy for me to increase my income, don't you think I would have done it a long time ago? However, what I'll say to you is that perhaps you have been thinking inside of the box instead of opening yourself up to new income possibilities. So over the short term, the best strategy that I could tell you to increase your income is to get a job. And I don't mean a 9 to 5 in the traditional sense, and I don't even mean what you might be thinking when you think of a job. Ever since we were young, when we were young, we had people ask us, what do you want to be when you grow up? And if you're like me or the other kids of the world, you probably said something like, I want to be a teacher or a doctor. Those are the things that I wanted to be when I was young. I wanted to be a teacher or a doctor. But maybe you wanted to be a fireman or a policeman or an author or something else. But my point is that when we were young, we were taught to believe that we only needed one job and that one job was going to be our income stream. But I want to let you know today that if you want to achieve financial freedom and even become a millionaire, you need to multiply your income streams. Most millionaires have 7 income streams. I read that somewhere. And I don't know how credible it is, but I do know that millionaires have multiple income streams. So that's what we're going to talk about today for short-term action. Over the long term, what you could do is diversify your sources of income. So if you look across these different quadrants over active income and passive income, people who have achieved financial freedom diversify their sources of income to every different quadrant. So they have something coming from each of these that grow their overall income. So during this virtual training program, we're going to talk about how do you diversify your income. Right now, my income is diversified over the active and passive. I'm self-employed, I'm an investor in the stock market, and I'm also an investor in real estate. But let's move on and talk about multiple income streams. So these are just examples of how you can multiply your income stream. You could have a job, whether it be 9 to 5 or self-employed. You could have a blog that you could monetize. Maybe you blog your journey to motherhood. Or maybe you're a young adult who has dreams of playing in the NBA. You could blog your experience there and monetize it for other young people who are interested in going to the NBA or the WNBA or whatever it may be. If you're like me and you like houses, maybe real estate would be a good fit for you. And every person could write a book. Every single person has a life. And if you have a life, then you have a story. And if you can tell that story in a way that people can really connect to, then you can begin to monetize that as a book. And okay, so I told you that I want you to multiply your income stream, but you might be thinking, well, how exactly do I go about doing that? And there are so many different ways that you could go about opening up different income streams for yourself. I'll just give you some examples. So I wanted to show you how easy it is to open up additional income streams for yourself. So I first went to Craigslist.org. And the things I think are easiest to look for, you go to the jobs section, and I typically find that looking for customer service or education jobs are fairly easy. So let's see. I clicked on education, and the first thing that popped up was tutor needed in South Suburbs. Compensation, $20 to $25 per hour. So if I worked as a tutor for 2 hours a week, I would be able to increase my income by $200 a month. That might not seem significant, but if you took that $200, which would come to $2,400 per year, $2,400, and you invested it, that would drastically change your financial future. If you invested that $2,400 every year for 5 years, you would achieve financial freedom. Let's look at some other examples. Relay Ride. Rent your car and get paid. You can get paid by loaning your car to people while you are not using it. You could earn up to $1,000 a month, and insurance is included. So if something were to happen, your car would be covered. That's another example. I went and I checked out the website. Make sure it's legit. They even have this thing where you could park free at the airport. How cool is that? Come back, your car is nice and clean. They get it washed for you. But this is another opportunity where you could open up an income stream and you don't even have to do anything but let people use your car. Maybe while you're at work. If you drive to work, your car is just sitting there for over 9 hours. Care.com is another resource. It allows you to post jobs and look for jobs. You could be a babysitter or a tutor. You could offer that. You could offer adult and senior care services. Maybe you offer pet services as a dog walker. You could offer in-home cleaning services. And I'm not asking that you give up your life so that you can create an additional income stream. I'm not asking you to do that. What I am asking you to do is to set an annual goal of $2,000 per year and a monthly goal of $200 a year. So that even if you fall a little bit short of that monthly goal, you can still get close to that annual goal. So monthly, you can achieve an additional $200 a month. You could sell 20 books per month for $10. There are millions of people scouring the internet a day. You could sell 20 books. You could work 20 extra hours per week, per month for $10 an hour. You could loan out your car. You could go to eBay and sell 20 things for a profit of $10, or sell 10 things for a profit of $20. Go to your local secondhand store. Buy things cheap, things that people want and may not be able to find. But because you take the time to look for it, you can monetize that. So you can't tell me that between all of the things that we just talked about, you can't find $2,000 a year. If you can't, then you should reevaluate whether or not you actually want to achieve financial freedom. Strategy number 2 is decrease expenses. Over the short term, I'm going to talk about how you can reduce your budget expenses. And over the long term, I want you to start thinking about how can you reduce your tax liability, because taxes are one of your biggest expenses, but you don't even think about it because the government takes it before you can even look at it. But if you can reduce your tax liability, you can greatly increase your wealth accumulation over time. But to jump into the budgeting example, let's look at how small things can add up over time. Whether you're eating out, impulse shopping, buying coffee, if you still have cable. Most people have started using Netflix or Hulu. If you still have cable, you are throwing away $1,000 a year. Even ESPN is looking to move to an online model. So the traditional model of cable is dying out. But if you look at this screen, there are over $8,000 represented here that you're spending superfluously, that you're spending unnecessarily. $8,000. So even if you were to make the decision to change a few of these, you would be much better off. In order to do that, Mint.com would be a critical resource for you. It is a very simple resource that allows you to track what is going on with your money. The thing that I like most about Mint.com is that it allows you to track your budget here. So once you get close to reaching your your budget, Mint.com will send you an email and a text message to let you know that you're getting close to the budget that you set. And so it allows you to recalibrate your actions so that you don't actually go over your budget for the month. It also allows you to put your bills in. So if you see up here, it says your alerts. Your bill for Merrill Lynch is due in 7 days. Excuse me. So that way, you don't have to get late fees anymore because they let you know when your bill is due. But even better than that, you won't risk ruining your credit score because of late payments. So I'm not asking you to do everything on that list. I'm just asking that you find $2,000 a year. How could you do that? Bring your lunch 3 times a week if you don't already. Cut your cable bill. Drink coffee at home. Shop less. You can do any number of things. There were $8,000 represented on that slide. I'm only asking that you reduce $2,000 of that. And I know that you can do it. I know that you can do it. Jumping into strategy number 3, let's talk about investing more. Today I'm going to specifically talk about how you can invest in your IRA and your 401k, but over the long term, if you really want to accelerate your path to wealth, you really have to know about real estate. So we're going to talk about that, and we're also going to talk about small business investing and other types of investing in the virtual training program. That's going to give you an inside perspective on how to increase your path or accelerate your path to wealth creation. So right now, I want to let you know what would happen if you maxed out your 401k and you maxed out your IRA. Okay? So let's look at some potential scenarios. Let's pretend that your income is $35,000, and whether your income is higher or lower, this will work for you. We're going to pretend that your company is going to match at 3%. Most companies match at 3% or up to 6%. And let's see what your company does, what your investments will do over 40 years. So for example, for the 401k example, we're going to invest $1,050, which is 3% of your $35,000 income, and your employer is going to match that $1,050 at dollar for dollar. So your total investment is going to be $2,100. If you were to only do that one time, let's say you sacrificed only 1 year, you found $1,050 and you invested it, your employer matched it, In 40 years, it will grow to $95,000. Now, let's say that you did that 40 times. Let's say every year over the next 40 years, you invested that $1,050. You never increased it. You left it the same. Over 40 years, it will grow to $1 million. And looking at your IRA, if you maxed out your IRA, that would be $5,500. If you only did that one time, assuming average market conditions, your money would grow to $249,000. And if you did it 40 times, once every year for the next 40 years, that money would grow to $2.6 million. Okay? So you might be wondering how. And I'm going to recommend that you first start with your employer. You work with your HR department to make sure that you are set up within your 401k or your company investment plan, and that you invest up to the company match. So if they match up to 6%, you invest up to 6%, and all of that is free money. After you have invested up to the match, then you're going to work toward brokerage firms. One such brokerage firm that I really like is Vanguard, but you have your pick. You could use Fidelity, FIDELITY.com. You could use TRoPrice.com. But for Vanguard, you would go to what we offer. You would go down to investing. Normally, if you're gonna open up a brokerage account, I would recommend that you invest within an IRA. But today we just want to look at the investment options that they have. So we're gonna click on this. It's gonna take us here. And we're going to go down to stock funds because we want to specifically invest in stocks. I have already pre-filtered this for you so you can know what it'll look like. So we are looking for the stock asset class, and we want a minimum of $3,000 because that is the minimum that Vanguard has for the type of investment that we're looking for. So if you do not have $3,000 right now, I'm going to recommend that you do one of two things. Number one, you either save up your money until you have enough money to invest the minimum, or you can invest in an online brokerage company that actually has lower minimums. When I started out with T. Rowe Price. That is TROWEPRICE.com. TRowePrice.com. But here I have highlighted the total stock market index. And the reason that I picked this one is because it is a complete reflection of the of the stock market. And it has the lowest interest rate because of that. If you look at when you're making an investment, you want to look at its year-to-date returns and its average annual returns. So here's the 1 year, the 5 year, and the 10 year. And this is since inception. So very recently, the total stock market index has been doing well, but it has a pretty strong and proven track record. And the expenses are very low. And we'll talk about why that is in a second. So you'll notice here that I did not look for actively managed funds. I specifically filtered for index funds, which means that they're not actively managed. They're just a reflection of a portion of the stock market or the total stock market. So what if you could only invest $1,000 per year? Even if you only invested $1,000 per year because you couldn't max these out, you would still drastically change the trajectory of your financial future. So looking at our last strategy number 4, I'm going to recommend that you cut costs. So over the long term, we're going to specifically talk about how index funds allow you to cut costs. And over the long term, we're going to talk about how do you position your portfolio to be optimized for tax advantages and other expenses. Because in the long term, those can really add up. But over the short term, I want to talk to you about index funds. And we're going to look at index funds versus managed funds. The bar graph that you see before you is your average profit on an initial investment of $10,000 over 25 years. So you invested $10,000 and over 25 years it grew to about $180,000. So basically, what this graph shows you is how much of this you get to keep and how much you get to give away. The blue portion is how much you get to keep, and the red portion is how much you get to give away. Based on that information, I think it's very simple to decide which one of these stocks you want. You want to keep as much as possible, and that the option that allows you to do that is the index fund. So basically, a managed fund is just going to be more expensive than an index fund. So over 25 years in an index fund, you will have to pay $8,400, and you will get to keep $170,000. Whereas for an average managed fund, you would only get to keep $98,000. That's a $70,000 difference. So I hope that has made the point. A lot of people get started in investing and they start with managed mutual funds. That's where I started because I didn't know any better. I didn't have anybody to tell me why the expense ratio is so important and the impact that it could have on your portfolio over time. So I know that we talked about a lot already. We're 30 minutes in and we have covered 4 different strategies. We talked about increasing your income, about leveraging the technological world that we live in, about putting our entrepreneur caps on, running our lives like a business, and increasing that income stream, multiplying those income streams. We talked about decreasing expenses, which is pretty self-explanatory. Spend less and find ways to do it. We talked about increasing your investments, that even if you were able to find $1,000 for 1 year, it would be able to have a substantial impact. But if you were able to do it every year, how much more advantageous that would be. And then lastly, we talked about how cutting costs could really significantly impact the amount of money that you get to keep in your pocket on the investments that you do make. So let's look at the numbers. Even if you just picked a few things off of this list, you would be in a good position financially. But this helps, but it doesn't get you to financial freedom in 5 years. It might allow you to take a few more vacations though, which is pretty cool. But let's look at if you followed the strategies. Let's see. If you increased your income by $2,000 and you decreased your expenses by $2,000, and you would have $4,000 to invest. If you only invested that $4,000 for 1 year, in 5 years, it would grow to $6,442, and in 40 years, you would have over $180,000. Now, this is not a whole lot of money. You'd probably be doing better than a lot of people if you did it, but this is not the way to achieve financial freedom. It allows you to sleep a little bit better at night because you have money in the bank, but let's look at what happens if you invest every year. In 5 years, you would have $30,000. This is how you get to financial freedom in 5 years. This is just one way. We just increased your income to $30,000 in 5 years. Now, looking at all of those different stages that come along with life, you have the money to start to plan for those things. And over 40 years, that investment could grow to $2 million, and you now have your retirement nest egg. You saved for your wedding, you saved for your car, your home, your family. Just by doing these 2 simple things, you've been able to change your life. And this is only the tip of the iceberg of what we talk about in the virtual training program. So before we start talking about the virtual training program, 20-something and Rich, I want to talk to you a little bit about the things that my clients have personally been able to accomplish. So I have one client who says, I had a goal in March to buy a car no later than August 1st. And on July 24th, that goal materialized. So we sat down and put together a savings plan for her car. We also put together an investment plan for her life. But her savings plan allowed her to reach her goal of owning her own car. Not leasing it, not financing, but owning it right out. So I helped her put together this plan, and then one day I come on Facebook and I see how that goal has materialized. Imagine how it feels to be able to help somebody make their dreams and the things they want become a reality. Everybody who has a goal to get a car can't get a car, much less one that is paid off in full. Another one of my clients says, I had a wonderful financial planning session with Latasha Kennard of Start Young Financial. We sat down to update my spending plan, set up investments, and discuss goals for the next 3 to 5 years. So we set up investment plans that allowed for her to have a $20,000 down payment on her home and over $50,000 toward retirement. But one thing that I thought was really powerful was that she wanted to start taking piano lessons. And we set up a plan that allowed her to do that. And on October 5th, she had her first piano recital. So you can see her goal, our session was in May. And in October, she reached her goal. That's awesome. That's awesome, and that's what I love about what I get to do. I get to help people achieve financial freedom, and to me, financial freedom is being able to have the things that you want in life. The things that are your dreams become your reality. That is financial freedom. And so, for me, financial freedom, financial freedom means being able to travel. That's a picture of Rome. I actually got to see that in person. Being able to travel, being able to live where you want to live in the home that you love, and being able to contribute to your favorite charities. And this is what financial freedom is not for me. I don't want to have to work into my 50s, 60s, 70s, or 80s. I don't want to be a financial burden to my children because of the decisions that I made today. I don't want to be in a financial position where I can't own a home. That's not what I want. So the 20-something Enrich virtual training program, I want to run you through one more time what this program is. I'm going to try to keep it to 5 minutes. It is a step-by-step 30-day guide to get rich in 5 years. As I said, it is not a get-rich-quick type of thing. But what I told you about today will allow you to get rich in about 40 years, give or take. But I can also tell you about how to shrink that from 40 years to 5 years. The first way we're going to do that is by executing a new and easy-to-use budgeting model. If you are not executing a budget, then you do not want to become a millionaire. You do not want to achieve financial freedom. I find it very hard to believe that if you don't have a budget. The second thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a comprehensive 5-year financial plan. Okay? You're going to learn simple and proven strategies in real estate and the stock market. And not just in those realms. We're going to learn about insurance. We're going to learn about retirement planning and estate planning. And like I said before, I am not reinventing the wheel. I'm just bringing the wheel to you. I have done the research. I have read for hours upon hours upon hours to become an expert on these things. And from that, we're going to develop your financial freedom playbook. And it is a playbook in the sense that it is a step-by-step guide for what you will need to do to reach your financial goals. It will be so simple that as long as you can read, you can follow it. And I want you to understand that because I think so many people get intimidated by what they think they can't do. But this program takes the intimidation factor out. As an educator, it is my job to make complex topics easy to understand. So I deconstruct things that are difficult and I make them simple to digest. So that even a middle schooler would be able to understand the concepts. So now you'll be able to understand the concepts and you will know exactly how to execute them. In addition, you'll gain lifetime access to our financial planning tools. So as we continue to update those tools, you'll have access to them, and you'll have lifetime access to our community as well. The program is a $499 program that I am discounting specifically for those people who are listening to this webinar, because I want to make it accessible. So I'm offering it at $249. I'm offering the program at that price because I don't want you to have a reason to say no. I believe so strongly that if you put in the work for just 30 days, you'll be able to achieve your financial freedom in 5 years or before. Now, this is normally the part of the webinar where we do a call to action. And I'm probably not supposed to tell you that. But the truth of the matter is that I don't like being a salesman. I don't like feeling like I have to try to sell you a product. Instead, I hope that this 45-minute webinar has done that for me. That's the purpose. That this webinar has proven that no matter what your income level or no matter what your current financial situation is, you can make the steps to start building wealth, and you can reach your financial goals in 5 years. So instead of being all salesy right now, I'm going to put the ball in your court because I need you to make a decision based on the information that you have. So I want to ask you 4 questions so that you can decide, is this program for you? So that takes the pressure off of me because I've already done my job. If I've done my job correctly, then the 45 minutes of this webinar have helped you understand why financial freedom is important, and it has helped you understand that it is a possibility for you and that I specifically can help you achieve it. So now it's time for you to do your part by answering these questions. So number 1, do you want to achieve financial freedom? And I know the answer to that question is yes. My next question is, do you have all of the knowledge you need to make it happen? Do you have knowledge of real estate? Do you have knowledge of the stock market? Do you have knowledge of insurance? Do you have knowledge of retirement planning and estate planning and taxes? Finance, all of the things that go into becoming a millionaire or achieving financial freedom. As you can see, millionaire is where my head is. But also, these things will help you achieve financial freedom, whatever that means for you. And I'm going to guess that the answer is no, you don't have all the knowledge. And notice how I didn't ask you if you had all the money. Because in all of my research, I have found that knowledge is the biggest barrier to financial freedom, not money. People don't know how to become financially free. Even people who are making all the money in the world, they're still living paycheck to paycheck. 76% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. So I know that you don't have all the knowledge that you need to make it happen. My third question is, do you believe that achieving financial freedom in 5 years or less is worth $8 a day for 30 days? Do you think that achieving financial freedom in 5 years is worth $8 a day for only 30 days? So I showed you all the crazy things that most people are spending their money on, like coffee and cable and food, in terms of eating out. That adds up to over $20 a day. I'm only asking you to find $8 a day, and only for 30 days. So my question to you is your financial freedom worth that? And I don't really know the answer to that one. I don't know. But my last question is, do you believe in yourself and in me enough to take the first step. So hopefully you believe in yourself, but the truth of the matter is that some people don't. That's why at the beginning of the webinar, I prefaced it by saying this program is for people who are serious about transforming their financial future. So hopefully the fact that you continued in the webinar is a demonstration of your belief in yourself. But the next question, and this is the one that I really have no idea about, is do you believe in me enough to take that first step? I know what I offer. I know what I bring to the table. I know how many people that I have helped to reach their goals, to help materialize things that were once dreams and help them become a reality. But if you do believe in me, and you do believe in yourself, and you do want to achieve financial freedom, then I don't have to beg you to sign up for the program, because you've already recognized and identified that this is something that you want to do. And if you have identified it, then I'm going to ask that you go back to the email and you sign up for the date that best fits your needs. The program is going to run November 1st, November 15th, and January 1st. So the first two programs are to help you overcome this Christmas season without going into too much debt and to help you build out that plan. But I want to catch you before you get caught in the trap of the holidays. The other portion for the January 1st program is for those people who just want a clean slate. They want a clean start, and they are ready and excited to move forward and to start to build the financial future that they want for themselves, the future that they know that they can have and that they deserve. And they believe in themselves and me enough to make it happen. I believe in myself enough. I know what I can do. I know what I can do for you. But you have to take the action. You have to be willing to spend that $8 a day for 30 days to make this happen. Now, I know that there are going to be some people who are on the fence. And if you're on the fence, don't go purchase the program. Because I don't want you to get yourself into something that you're not ready for. Because I need you to be mentally prepared to take on the rigor of these next 30 days. For 30 minutes every day for the next 30 days, Monday through Friday, you are going to be working on things that are going to help you build your wealth. For 30 minutes, Monday through Friday. And I need you to be committed to doing that. Because if you're not committed, it's not going to work. I want you to know that for the program, I offer a 30-day guarantee, 30-day money-back guarantee. If you do not feel that you are closer to reaching your financial goals as a result of the program, then you get your money back. However, you must have completed all of the exercises. So if you do the work and you don't see the results, then you get your money back. Hands down, no questions asked. And if you have questions, I want you to feel free to call me. The number is on the screen. And I want to make myself so accessible to you. If you don't call me, actually send me an email and we can set up some time to talk. And, don't hesitate. It is my life goal to talk to as many people as possible about personal finance. So you will be doing me a favor if you call me. Because I want to talk to you about your finances, whether you decide that this program is for you or not. So give me a call and we can talk. And if money is an issue, money should never be the reason for doing or not doing something. You should be looking at value. You're going to get a lot of value out of this program. It's going to pay for itself in 30 days anyway. But if you do find that money is an issue, I understand. Because you didn't have prior notice. So what I'm willing to do is for the people who call me, I'm willing to set up payment plans to work with you. Now, I have never been on a webinar that have offered the money back guarantee and a payment plan to make this work for you. But because I'm so dedicated to bringing a message of personal finance to so many people, I'm willing to be flexible to make it work for you. So I am at 52 minutes. I tried to keep myself to 45. But I want to thank you for staying with me. I want to say thank you to those people who were on the live webinar. I really, really appreciate you. And I hope that even just from this webinar, that you have taken away something that will help you achieve your financial goals. But if you want to go stronger, harder, and faster towards your goals, then I look forward to you signing up for the 20-something and Rich virtual training program. You can go to the email and you will find the links there. I'm so excited to get started. I already have the Aspiring Millionaires Club program, but I'm even more excited about this one because the Aspiring Millionaires program, we have people who are already established. You know, they're making over $70,000 and they are racing towards their first million. I want to work with people and help you get started on achieving that first million. Right now, we're just trying to get to financial freedom, but maybe a year from now, you're ready to start thinking like a millionaire. I don't know, but I hope so. So thank you again for joining me. I really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, please go like Start Young Financial Group on Facebook. Find us on all the different social media venues. We want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. I want to connect with you. And like I said, please don't hesitate to give me a call. Thank you so much, and you have a wonderful day.